So Brian McKnight files a lawsuit against his son,
Mm-hmm.
ex-wife, Marc Lamont Hill. If you guys aren't familiar with Marc Lamont Hill, we'll explain him in a minute. Tasha K and others over an alleged smear campaign. So here's the thing. First, Brian McKnight. Brian
Yes.
McKnight, legendary R&B artist.
Hold on. Let me let them know. Start right back at one. Y'all know
right.
y'all know the
Yes,
legendary song.
he counts us down, right? And then he has been in different social media spaces talking about his son, talking about his ex-wife, and how, he doesn't really have a good relationship with them.
Yeah.
Which, okay, fine. This is the reason why the fans got involved is because he had a judgment against his ex-wife
Right.
that for $8 million
Mm-hmm.
because he claims that she defamed him in his book.
In her book.
And I'm sorry,
Yeah,
in her book.
Okay.
Now, she did not show up for court. So he won that judgment off of default because he did not show up to court.
Right.
So, people keep, I guess, when I say people, his son has also went on an interview with Marc Lamont Hill. Marc Lamont Hill is now on Joe Budden's podcast.
Yes, he's on the Joe Budden podcast, but most people know him from CNN, and I would say I became a fan of him on the Grill. I used to watch the Grill
Yeah.
sometimes. So
They had,
yeah.
yes, they had really good content there too.
Mm-hmm.
And so Marc Lamont Hill did an exclusive with his son, who then gave more insight into the situation. Do
Yeah.
you want to speak on the interview?
Yeah, so he did the interview and he talked about how I guess allegedly the family were being triggered because they had a brother that died.
Had passed away. Yep.
Right? So I guess every time this is what the son is like alleging, right?
Mhm.
Every time the brother that died birthday or his death date or
date.
something dealing with him, every time that happens, Brian McKnight posts something on his social media that might trigger the family.
Mhm.
Like, for example, I guess on one of his birthdays, Brian McKnight posted himself enjoying time with his new quote unquote family.
Right.
That was the first time I learned about this.
Yeah.
And it went super duper viral.
It did.
And then allegedly the date that he celebrated the $8 million judgment was on has something to do with the date of the son.
Yeah.
So the son, who is still currently alive, that was the junior, right?
Yes, Brian McKnight Jr.
And they got their friction because Brian McKnight started this new family, which
Right.
is cool. Okay, you got a new family.
Yeah.
But what everybody else started talking about is how his new son is a junior. So they're like, how you already got a junior.
Another Brian McKnight
But
Jr.
allegedly, Brian McKnight changed his name so he invalidated the first junior to make the baby a junior.
A junior.
So just to make him a real junior,
Mhm.
like if I, have a son and then I don't want him no more, and then I just change my middle name.
Yeah.
So now this new son is a real
It's actual authentic junior.
and I, invalidate your junior.
Yeah.
Whatever, right? This is a lot, but so that's what some of the things the son was talking about, and then he was talking about his childhood, and if he speak about some of the things he went through, then it'll break the internet and stuff like that, alluding to a lot of interpersonal workings with the family. And my thing is, everybody experience everything different, so you might have an experience with your dad or your mom or your brothers or whatever. Every child doesn't get the same mom, dad, because you get them at a different stage in their life. You might have got him when he was broke. You might have got him when he fell
That's
off.
true.
Or you got him when he was at the top of his game.
That's true.
He was really, and now because he's so rich and famous, he's traveling, so he's not there. So it's a lot of reasons why somebody like a Brian McKnight son, on the surface, everybody would think like, your dad's a famous superstar, like you should be happy, whatever. But maybe there's a lot of tension and a lot of things behind closed doors we don't know about. So he spoke to Marc Lamont Hill about that, and Marc Lamont Hill had some choice words, I'll just say that, for when he was on the Joe Budden podcast, he had some choice
He called him
words.
an a-hole.
Yeah, he had called him an a-hole, and he's not a good person, and he haven't seen anything
Mm.
that would make him think Brian McKnight is a good person based on the social media chatter and all the stuff he does. So he ended up in court as well. He's going to end up in court as well. So Marc Lamont Hill is being sued. That's his part of the lawsuit.
Then-
Now, the worst part is Tasha K.
Yeah.
Now, you want to talk about what Tasha K involvement in?
We can do that. So, you know, Tasha K is going to take it there every time.
Yes.
And when I say take it there, just overly make accusations, right? And I don't know if she can always back things up. But Tasha K says that one of the most malicious claims came from Tasha K, who alleged that Mcknight was an adulterer who had sex with a minor. That is what she's alleging.
Crazy, right?
And he is seeking an undisclosed amount of damages from her.
Yeah.
So that, you know, and this is not Tasha K's first
rodeo
with being sued by celebrities. So I'm like, are you still just saying anything? Or
no, you know he's suing someone else. So he's suing Urban One.
He is, yep.
Urban One is the platform that his family members did an interview on.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be like if we brought him on, he's suing me, you, and the platform for interviewing his son about whatever allegedly went on in their childhood, which I think is crazy because it's like
that's their story too.
That's their story. Now, I'm not with nobody defaming nobody, but if I tell my story and say, you know, I had a rough childhood, you know, I miss my dad wasn't there at certain moments, so whatever I tell, I mean, you don't know how I felt though. You might felt you were a great parent, but that don't invalidate my feelings.
Yeah.
So Urban One is being sued for $25,000, solely because Julia Mcknight, I guess that's his ex-wife, if I'm not mistaken. Julia Mcknight did an interview with Urban One, so he's seeking $25,000 in damages. He also has a separate lawsuit. So Brian McKnight is really busy. He's suing Ricky Smiley.
Yes. Yes.
So Ricky Smiley is wrapped up in all of this as well, and you know, Urban One and North Carolina Radio and the host and all of them, they all are involved in that whole debacle.
I think Urban One is the parent company of the Ricky Smiley show.
Yes.
Yeah. So they've, you know, he's been busy. I don't understand why he doesn't just set the record straight, though, instead of suing. Like, usually when people don't like what others have said, they just call into the radio station, call into whoever and say, hey, you did an interview with my son, or what he would probably say, my former son, and I would like to do an interview as well to set the record straight.
That's what,
I don't understand why you need to get lawyers involved. Like, this is their truth. What is the lawyer going to say? Like, this is not your truth. This is not your experience with this person. This is not the character that he has shown you throughout your childhood and parts of your adulthood. I don't know. I think he's taking advantage of his power because he is, particularly with his son and his ex-wife, I don't think they don't seem to have as much resources.
Yes.
Just the fact that she didn't show up for court is like, I wonder what that's about. You know, maybe she doesn't want this whole long drawn out thing. I'm just not going to show up and hopefully it gets dismissed. Instead, it got judgment.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. They bully you in court, you know, try to silence you. And how judges work and how the court works is if you don't show up to defend yourself, I'm going to assume these allegations are true. So I'm going to just do a judgment and say, yeah, this person can get an exorbitant amount of money. This person can stop talking about you. This person can do X, Y, Z. And until you go in there and defend yourself, you really have nothing to go off of. So, Brian, don't sue us. We're using our First Amendment rights to talk about this lawsuit. You made it public. So, shout out to you. I mean, I think there is a situation where Brian McKnight should start going around and giving his side of the story.
That's what I'm thinking.
But he just saying, I'll see you in court. So,
I mean, to his own family And here's the thing, it doesn't make him look better.
Yeah.
He's already losing in the court of public opinion, and I guess he just wants them to like shut up about it. But like, my point is the stain is already there.
Yeah, the narrative is already out there. I mean, the only thing they can do is kind of reconvene and like try to come together as a family, maybe do some family vlogs. You know, that'll go viral. Like people will really, you know, really buy into that and just give an inside look. They need Ayanna Benzant to fix my life. That'll be a good, cause you know she's starting her show back up, like on the Oprah's.
If she started with Brian McKnight, that would go viral.
That would go viral. They definitely need to do that. And I mean, sounds like the family need a few dollars anyway, not showing up to court, so they can definitely use that money. So shout out to Brian McKnight and his family. Hopefully you guys
I know. Best of luck.
Yeah, hopefully you guys can get that covered up. Thank you guys for watching. In order to continue to support independent journalism, I need you to subscribe down to the page below. And if you want the full podcast and more exclusive content, I need you to subscribe to the Patreon. Link is in the description.